हरि ओम। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। गोविन्दनाम संकीर्तनं गोविन्द गोविन्द। Bhagavad Gita, a conversation with God daily. In this series, today, chapter 1, shloka 7. Asmakam tu visishtaye tanibodh dvijottama nayaka mama sainyasya sanyartham tan bravimite. Yesterday we saw that Duryodhana approached Dronacharya and he lists out the important warriors in Pandava's army. He tells Dronacharya how big an army it is and who are the main warriors in that army. Today, now in this shloka, he says, Asmakam tu visishtaye. Now let me list out the important great warriors in our side, in our army. They are the commanders and the notable kings and warriors on our side. I'll tell you them. I'll list them out to you. Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Kripascha Samitinjayaha Ashwathama Vikarnascha Saumadaktistathaivacha. He says Bhavan. First he starts with you. You are the most important person in our army. He is the Gurunatha of Duryodhana also, right? And when he is saying this to him, he first begins with you. You, sir, is the first and foremost in our army. Then next is Bhishma. Bhavan Bhishmascha, the great Bhishma, Bhishma Pitamaha. And then Karna. Then Kripacharya. Then he adds an adjective to that Kripacharya, Samitinjayaha Kripaha. Samitinjayaha means one who always wins his battles, one who always wins in the battlefield. Because Kripacharya is elder to Karna, a very respectable elderly person. Kripacharya. Acharya Sthana he has. But this Duryodhana, first he said yourself, then Bhishma, then he should have said Kripacharya, but he said Karna, because so much amount of faith he has got in Karna, in Karna's valor and strength. He immediately realizes his mistake, and so he says Samitinjayaha Kripaha, the great Kripa who always wins in the battlefield. And then there is Ashwathama, then Vikarna, Saumadattihi. Saumadattihi means the son of Somadatta, Bhurishravaha. These are all the notable warriors in our army. Anye cha bahavaha shura madarte tyakta jivitaha nana shastra praharanaha sarve yuddha visharadaha. Anye cha bahavaha shura. Don't think it is just only so many. Anye cha bahavaha. There are so many other great warriors too. Madarte tyakta jivitaha. Those who are ready to even sacrifice their lives for my sake. Why do you think so many are there in our army here? They have all assembled here for my sake, for the sake of this Duryodhana. They have so much love towards me. They are all ready to even sacrifice their lives for me. Madharte tyakta jivitaha. Nana Shastra Praharanaha. They are so very skilled in all sorts of weapons. Sarve Yuddha Visharadaha. And they are very highly noted for their talent in warfare. So such great persons, great valorous kings are there in our army. Not just these whom I have listed out. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishmabhirakshitam paryaptam tvidametesham balam bhimabhirakshitam. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam. So, aparyaptam, anantam, vast, huge, unlimited is our strength. Our army is so huge. And Bhishmabhirakshitam, it is actually headed by none other than the great Bhishma himself. But the army of the Pandavas, Paryaptam Tvidam Yetesham Balam, their army is limited. It is a small army compared to us. And moreover, Bhimabhirakshitam, it is commanded by Bhima, the Bhima. Chapala Buddhina, says the commentary. Bhima, who always gets angry easily, who is so fickle-minded, that Bhima, he actually heads the Pandava army. So, that Pandava army which is not that strong, which is less in number, and moreover which is headed by that Bhima, can in no way defeat our army, which is so huge and vast, and we have Bhishma on our side. This very same shloka has been interpreted in another way also by some commentators. Sridhara Swami actually says Aparyaptam Now we said the meaning for aparyaptam as unlimited, vast. He actually interprets the very same word aparyaptam as not enough, insufficient. Our army, headed by Bhishma, is insufficient to defeat their army, which is headed by Bhima. Because Bhishma actually has affection towards both the Pandavas and the Kauravas. When you have a very lovable person, someone who is very dear to you standing before you, will you be able to take your weapon and just fight with him? Will you be able to kill him? That's what is going to happen now after a few shlokas, right? Arjuna looking at all his relatives, his friends, everyone, the elders of his family, his teachers, everyone before him. He is unable to fight. He develops great confusion. Now Duryodhana has that feeling now. This Bhishma, our grandfather, who is so very affectionate towards the Pandavas, how will he fight wholeheartedly against them? How is he going to lead this army properly against them? I doubt that very much. So, our strength is insufficient. But that Pandava army is paryaptam. It is sufficient. Why? Because Bhima leads that army. Bhima first strikes the blow. He kills and then only he thinks. That Bhima, who has got so much hatred in his heart towards the Kauravas, he leads that army. So they are sure to defeat us, says Duryodhana. So the very same shloka has been interpreted in two ways by different commentators. Now here aparyaptam, actually the strength of the Kaurava army is 11 Akshauhini. Akshauhini means an army which has 21,870 elephants, 21,870 chariots, 65,610 horses and 1,09,350 soldiers on foot. So this put together is one Akshauhini. Totally 2,18,700 warriors form one Akshauhini. The four types of army we say, right? The Gaja, Ratha, Turaga, Padati. Those four types of army. So one Akshauhini is 2,18,700. Like this, 11 Akshauhini the Kaurava army has. The Pandava army possesses just 7 Akshauhini. So actually, if we go by numbers, the Pandava army is very small compared to the Kaurava army. But still, Duryodhana feels his own side is insufficient in strength and the Pandava side is stronger. One reason that was said is because of Bhishma and Bhima leading the army. And another thing is, in the Pandava army, Krishna himself is there. The Purna Vastu, the complete entity is there in the opposite side. When it is present there, then everything appears complete. So the Pandava army seems complete. It is complete and so strong, powerful, because Krishna is there. We say, right, if somebody is present in the gathering, then it is as if the gathering is complete. Everyone is present there. Sabha naranju irukku. We say, right? Like that, the presence of the complete entity, Krishna, the supreme being, the Parabrahman is present there. So, it appears complete to Duryodhana, and his own side seems to be incomplete and insufficient. Now the next shloka. Ayaneshu cha sarveshu yatha bhagam avasthitaha bhishmamevabhirakshantu bhavantas sarva evahi. Then Duryodhana says, the soldiers of the army, they have been allotted particular positions. Each and every one has been allotted a particular position, and the army is now in a particular formation. All of you, yatha bhagam avasthitaha, without leaving your positions, stay wherever you have been asked to stand. And all of you protect Bhishma. All of you, wherever you are, your first and foremost duty is to protect Bhishma Pitamaha. Because if Bhishma is there, then we have every chance of winning this battle. If we lose Bhishma, then we lose everything. This one meaning for the first thing. And the second way, where he feels we are going to lose only because of Bhishma, here he implies Bhishma is not going to fight properly. He is not going to protect himself. He is incapable of doing that. So, let us all, along with fighting, have the extra burden of looking after my grandfather Bhishma also. Implying this, he says these words. So, we now saw the 9 shlokas that Duryodhana says to Dronacharya. With this, we stop for today. Tomorrow, we'll continue with the 12th shloka. And one more thing, some of you have asked me, will you be sending us the videos daily? All of you subscribe to the channel, and if you press the bell icon, then you will be getting the videos daily. Okay, you will be notified as and when I upload the video. And this Bhagavad Gita conversation with God daily is a daily series. So we are going to learn a few shlokas from Bhagavad Gita daily, and doing something daily continuously for maybe this will take 6 or 7 months, maybe 7 months. How are we going to actually accomplish that? It is just a matter of 15 minutes. But to do something regularly for around 6 months is in itself a great tapas. All of you, you just set aside a particular time daily for this. I am uploading these videos generally by around 11:45, 12 in the night, so that early morning when you all get up at 5 or 6 o'clock, the videos will be ready for you to see. So morning, once you get up, I'll start my day with Bhagavad Gita. You listen to these shlokas just 15 minutes, then you can proceed with your day. Or some of you may feel, I would like to complete all my duties and then listen to this. Then you have your time as maybe 11 or 11:30 in the morning, after all your morning course are over, sit and then listen to it. Or maybe night before going to sleep, 10:30. But whatever it is, a particular time daily is going to help very much in maintaining the regularity and doing it daily without missing it. So one particular time daily, you decide, your choice, what time is your choice, but that will help a long way in completing your task. Okay, Hari Om.